Right, so now the topic we have at hand, that is re-emergence of fuel scarcity and solution. So let me even ask, how has your experience been this past week? Because this new scarcity, the re-emergence started last week Sunday, and it has been up to a week now. How has your experience with that been?
Yeah, it has not been pleasant because when I ran out of fuel, I had to buy at 900 naira per liter in Lagos. Because I couldn't queue for long hours and other filling stations where there are few vehicles. And I went there and I asked, it's 900 naira per liter, so I just have to buy. Because I can't imagine myself joining that long queue. So I think, but they say it's getting better now. Some of those queues are not as long as it was last week. So maybe they are working hard to make sure the supply is there.
All right, definitely. So now that a lot of Nigerians thought that after fuel subsidy was removed, this issue of fuel scarcity, long queues at filling station is going to be a thing of the past. But now that we've had subsidy removed and we are still having this issue, although they are trying to tell us that it might be some delay from the port, but still, do you think that that excuse is substantiate enough to make Nigeria at peace with the current challenges that we are facing?
Well, what we are hearing is that even government is subsidizing the fuel right now. If the fuel was to be removed 100%, we'll probably be buying at about 1,000 plus. So that's why we have, because the major marketers are the ones selling at the rate of 610, 619, 620. Other independent marketers are selling far above. So there's and we don't have the oil ministry of petroleum or the NNPC coming to address. You know, they used to come up with their communication department to tell us, oh, what's going on, but nobody's talking. So you just find out that okay, we are waiting that the Port Harcourt refinery is going to come on stream. That was the promise before early August. Now we are in the late August. Now we're here in September. So that means we are still totally dependent on importation of refined products. And Dangote refinery has not started supplying. So definitely the importation that they are doing, if it's 900 naira in Lagos, you can imagine how much they are going to be buying it outside of Lagos right now. As somebody told me, it's now about 1,000 naira around Abuja. So definitely there's a lot of challenges in that area. But I think what we should do is to hear it from the horse's mouth. The NNPC, the Minister of Petroleum. Fortunately enough, our president is also the petroleum minister. So but we have the NNPC who are in charge of the supply, whatever, importation. Now fuel is being imported only by the NNPC. So they should tell us what's going on. Is it the supply chain challenge that they have, or we don't have enough to, for our daily consumption? So nobody's talking. So maybe we need to ask them.
Okay, all right, because there is this thing that a lot of Nigerians have found funny. This issue of subsidy returning, and NNPC saying that, NNPC are saying that there's no subsidy, they are only selling for half of the landing cost, the cost. They're only selling half of that, but then they're still saying there's no subsidy. But why we are still talking about subsidy? Maybe it is returned, or maybe we are still not, like you said, from the horse's mouth, they are still telling us that there's no subsidy. Would you rather advocate that they should still put more in it, so that the amount of money Nigerians are buying fuel now would be further reduced? Let's say we're having something like maybe 400 naira or 300 naira per liter. Or would you still say that we should still do away completely with the subsidy?
No, we cannot afford it, because you know that we're talking of a high cost of living, and it's related to cost of fuel. So I think because of the end bad governance protest and the general atmosphere of hunger, the government cannot afford to officially increase the cost of fuel. I think what should happen, and what we hope will happen, is that local refineries who have been promised that will begin production, when they start supplying, will stop importing. And when Dangote, because Dangote refinery alone has the capacity, to produce and cover our daily consumption. And we're hearing that we have the capacity to do a daily production of 50 million liters, and our consumption is not more than 40 million liters. And the local refinery that we have, the government refinery, 4 of them, 2 in Warri, 2 in Port Harcourt, 1 in Warri, another 1 in Kaduna. The combined capacity of the 4 of them is about 20 million liters per day. So when we have this local refinery, and they are telling us that hopefully by December, all the refinery will start, all the federal government owned refineries, plus Dangote. So we will not have, in fact, the NNPC MD said by January, Nigeria will be a net exporter of refined products, and that we can hold him to that promise. So I think what we have to endure is just another maybe 1 or 2 months, and then we see this thing go down.
Okay, all right, because when subsidy was first removed, that was in 2023, yeah, we thought that everything is going to be put in place, like the refinery would start to work. In fact, a lot of people, like me for instance, I put my hope on January of this year because they assured us that they've started. Yes.
One of the refineries will start by December.
Yes.
Of 2023.
Yeah, and then we thought that maybe because of the Christmas break and New Year break, that people have to go home to spend with their families, and when they come back, we would start having results from. But now, what are the chances that this is still not same thing that we would still run into now that they've promised us that maybe September now or December that we are now looking up to? Because there have been so much disappointment. Some people have even opined that perhaps it is sabotage from people who are benefiting from Nigeria importing oil. So what do you think of that?
Definitely, as one of the major largest producer of crude in the world, I think Nigeria is the only country that is a producer of crude and also the importer of refined products. So you can see the peculiarity that we're in. So, but I think we are seeing the end of that. But what we should do, so that there will be no too much speculation, is that the NNPC guys should be able to address the situation, so that when they talk to us, we'll be able to know where we are going. Definitely, the major marketers are still selling at the rate in Lagos. If you are lucky, if you are patient, total all the major marketers, they are still selling at the rate of 620 thereabout. It's only the independent marketers, and nobody wants to go and buy at 850, 900, unless you are desperate. But if you are not desperate, and what you have seen is that the number of vehicles on the road has also reduced. So there will be less traffic on the road because people just have to look, this amount that I'm spending on fuel is becoming too much. And I think government will definitely have to do something about it. Maybe we need to give government more time to sort this thing out.
Okay, all right, because I was going to ask for solutions now, but
yes. We waiting because they keep giving us hope, they keep postponing it. And the NNPC MD said last time they addressed the press that the way the refinery works, that even at the very day that you want to start, something can happen technically and it can stop. So people in the sector, maybe they understand that, but maybe finally, maybe we'll get to the end of it.
Okay, all right. And the part of solutions that some people have also come up with is this issue of modular refinery. Because if we are waiting years for it's not even construction, this is supposed to be repair of an existing refinery. Yeah, if it is taking this long, then why should they not let these modular refineries operate? Because despite the fact that it is illegal, we still have these people who steal crude oil and then they are doing their own local refining wherever they are doing it en masse. Could we not have this situation where the government could perhaps talk to these people and come up with some solution? You know, if they make it legal, give them operating license, ensure that they are using the right equipment to prevent hazard. Do you see a situation like that playing out, that this would also further help the Nigerian economy and then help these people too? So instead of stealing, because if they are not tapping and they are not stealing the crude oil and then they are paying for it now legally, that might also help the Nigeria's economy. But what do you have to say about that?
Well, my understanding of the sector is that some licenses have been granted for modular refineries. You know that they may have problems sourcing their crude, because we are not producing enough crude for our OPEC quota. We are not producing enough. Remember the controversy that even Dangote had to cry out that because Dangote had to import crude from the United States of America. And there's always been going to import crude with foreign forests and be able to sell at the price the price that we are buying now. So even the modular refinery, my understanding, I am not an oil and gas expert, so my understanding is that where are they going to get it? If they buy crude, and they may not be able to sell, because the price that we are buying now, even government is subsidizing. And the government may not be able to subsidize it because they are business people who, if they get the crude, I don't know how much they are going to buy the crude. If the NMC does not have crude to greet them locally, and they have to source it like Dangote was trying to source internationally from the internal market, how are they going to be able to sell? So definitely they will still be selling at the price of 900, 1,000, like I said I bought 2 days ago. So those people who are selling at 900, they have fuel, the independent marketers. You go there, you drive there, you see 1 or 2 cars, but people cannot afford it. And it's not just buying, like a friend complained to me, it's not just buying at 900, their meter has already, in a way that whatever you buy, when you pay them and you start the engine, it's not reflected that you have actually. So nobody wants to go there. So you see them, they have 1 or 2 cars. There are people who are coming to buy with jerry can, maybe to run their generator. But vehicles are not going to buy from them because it's very expensive. So I think that's the situation. I hope we are not going to have the same problem with the modular refinery. Modular refinery licenses have been granted some people, but would they be able to sell and make profit at the rate that is prevailing now? That's
okay. All right, because if we look at production generally in Nigeria, that is probably why Nigerians will continually have a taste for foreign goods. Because by the time we juxtapose it, by the time we put it side by side, we realize that the foreign ones are cheaper than the ones that we are producing here locally. And what we have observed in some other countries that their own goods are much cheaper than ours is because their government there is doing their best to subsidize this product. But now in Nigeria that we are singing the song that subsidy has overstayed its welcome in some of our sectors. So could we not also have a return of subsidy in some of these areas to protect our own local manufacturers or local companies, so that at the end of the day, Nigerians too, they would stop having taste for foreign goods? Because we might still be having a situation whereby when the refineries here, when they start working, some people might still prefer to buy the foreign one because perhaps they find it in quality, quantity, and in expenses way better than the ones we are producing here locally.
No, I think that does not apply to oil and gas sector because this product is you have to buy with forest. You have to so it does not apply to that. And the only way is for us to have our local refineries working. And so because we are a major producer of oil, so we should be able to refine locally and for local consumption, especially when we have those refineries. Even countries that doesn't have that does produce crude like South Africa, they have refineries. Countries in other countries have refineries, so they import crude and they refine for their local market and for the consumption by their citizens. So there's no reason, as a country with one of the major producers of oil in the world, and we have refinery, 4 of them built by government, and none of them is working. I think that's the problem that we need to solve. So because in other sector, what government need to do is to protect local industry. Because by the time you are importing finished product from other countries, they may be cheaper and they may not be able to compete because over there, because of everything that they are producing there is cheaper than Nigeria. You can imagine local industry in Nigeria, they have to produce their own power by themselves, they have to produce everything. So at the end of the day, the unit cost is high. But for economies that are developed already, so there's the unit cost because over time, they can leverage on economy of large scale. So it's easy for them to just flood your market. But the local industry will not grow. Your people will not be employed. Because what you are doing when you import those products, finished products, you are helping them to keep their workforce in the industry abroad. And you are making your own people to lose their own job. So if you factor that so many companies have left Nigeria, multinationals, because of production is just way too high, the profit margin keep going down. So we can't afford that.
All right, definitely. So